Radha Radhe. Today is Saturday, 31st January 2026, and here we are to present to you this recap video for our Bhagavad Gita study session. We continue along our journey of chapter 12, and here along with me is Mummy.
Radhe Radhe.
As I'll bring up the screen, you'll see that we covered today chapter 12, verses 13 and 14. That was after the usual recap quiz to cover chapter 12, verses 11 and 12. So you can look at the description for the video for the usual link to the community portal to access all these slides, which includes all the quiz questions and much more supplementary material for your reference. With that, let us look at chapter 12, verses 13 and 14 together, because that is how they appear in Swamiji's Holy Bhagavad Gita.
Adveshta sarvabhutana maitrah karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma dridhanishchayaha मयि अर्पित मनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः.
So chapter 12, verse 13 has the catchphrase with a little play on the word dear. The catchphrase is free yet dear. Here we've seen in these two verses, Sri Krishna lists out many qualities of devotees who are dear to him. But dear also can mean expensive, very pricey, opposite, to some extent, opposite of free. So free yet dear. Here it's talking about free from attachment, free from egotism. Dear, the opposite, but with the pun. Dear in terms of being close to and really, really loved by Sri Krishna. Chapter 12, verse 14, a little simpler catchphrase, firm and steady. Amongst the different qualities that Sri Krishna lists, we do see that there is that firmness in terms of the conviction or resoluteness of purpose. And then there's also that steady dedication and devotion to God. So in these two verses, then, Sri Krishna has a long list, a set of different qualities of what his devotees are like. Several, of course, Sanskrit words Mummy covered in class. And here we have the entire translation that also takes us to the individual paragraphs Swamiji has for the commentary. But before we get to that, Swamiji states and sets the stage, reminding us that Sri Krishna has said earlier, which is in fact chapter 12, verses 6 and 7, that devotion to his personal form is the best. In chapter 12, verse 5, I'll just take us back there. It was about how those who are devoted to the attributeless, unmanifest, all-pervading, formless aspect of God, they can also reach the supreme goal. But that path is full of a lot of tribulations. It's extremely difficult. So that's chapter 12, verse 5. Whereas in chapter 12, verses 6 and 7, Sri Krishna had said and summarized, if we focus on him, so dedicate all our actions to him, regard Sri Krishna as that supreme goal, worship him, meditate upon him, the one with the form, Bhagwan, and it's with exclusive devotion, then indeed there is success. He delivers us from the ocean of birth and death. So that's the stage here for, again, chapter 12, verses 13 and 14. And then a lot of these terms, of course, as we saw in class as well, we have seen them in many different prior verses. We've seen them in scriptures. We hear about them. Our mind might many times realize we hear about them in bhajans and kirtans and prayers as well. So all these different qualities, free from malice toward all living beings, because we often may overlook that God is seated in them as well. So it's better to obviously not have malice or hatred toward living beings. There's friendly, there's compassionate. We often hear Karuna, Karuna Sagar, that ocean of compassion and mercy that is for God. But it's also here being used by Sri Krishna for his devotees. Free from attachment to possessions, free from egotism, free from that sense of proprietorship. We saw way back in chapter 2, Kartritva Bhiman. All that, again, are, these are qualities that we want to possess, which is being free from that proprietorship aspect. Of course, equipoised in happiness and distress, we've seen many, many times. Mummy mentioned as well the outcomes we can have, or we may have as humans, certain expectations, but reality may not be like that. It's the will of God. And if we can accept all that from the beginning and all the way through the end as well, then there is that sense of balance, equipoise. That is what Sri Krishna seeks of his devotees. Important one, I think, ever forgiving. Even if someone has wronged us, we should not be the ones to think about what that punishment ought to be. It is for God to decide and take care of that. You do your dharma, do your duties, and continue to be that spiritual devotee. Santushtaha, being ever contented, mentioned in class as well, that we often see this in Patanjali Yoga Sutras as well. We want to decrease our wants, not keep adding to our possessions. And then we've seen many times Satatam, steadily united with God in devotion. Yoga, of course, union, the blending and merging of our consciousness, really having that true relationship with God. Then self control, of course, over the mind and senses. Firm in conviction. We mentioned in class, I think, chapter 2, verse 41, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi, that single pointed aim. One of our favorite verses. It really helps us focus on a singular spiritual goal, Sri Krishna, the Supreme. And finally, of course, dedicated to him also in mind and intellect. Again, that full element of faith, devotion, surrender. If we do that, everything we have, could be our senses, could be our body, could be our money and income, our possessions. Everything will and can be used in the service of God. I'll get back to us later with elements of the flyer and maybe English words as well, but now it's over to Mummy first. Talk us through the Sanskrit dictionary and her add-ons for these two verses.
Thank you, Gagan. So let's look at the word adveshta. Adveshta means free from malice. Free from dvesh. That means we don't look at others with bad feelings. Then nirmamaha. Nirmamaha means you are free from attachment to possessions. No, me, mera, I, no moh, mamta, no moh, mamta with possessions, no attachment. Then from verse number 14, important word is santushtaha. Santushtaha means that you be contented with whatever you have, and dridha nishchayaha, firm in your conviction. So, what Shri Krishna is talking about here in these verses, he's talking about the qualities. Earlier also he has talked about qualities of karma yogis, that is in chapter 2 from verse 55 to 72. He talked about lots of qualities which are here also. And then in chapter 6 also, verse 7 to 9, again he has talked about qualities of yogis, karma yogis. In chapter 14, verse 22 and 25, he's talked about qualities of jnanis. So when we have gone through all those in the class itself also, what we understand that in these two verses, the qualities which he has talked about the same qualities earlier also. So what I felt was different here, what Krishna is saying, what is different here is the two important words, that is Maitraha and Karun. Maitraha means friendly, and who can be friendly? Who is Adveshta, who is free from malice, who doesn't have bad feelings for the other one. And Karun means compassionate. Compassionate means that you feel the problems of others, you feel the sufferings of others, then you can sympathize with them and you can come forward to help them in whatever way you can. So who is that person? That person is beyond a karma yogi, that person is beyond a jnana yogi, that person is a devotee, a bhakta. Huh? That is what Sri Krishna is saying here, and Swamiji has given us that in translation, that Krishna is saying those devotees are very dear to me, who are free from malice toward all living beings, who are friendly and compassionate. So these two qualities are very important, and they are found in devotees. Okay, there are other devotees also, yogis who are free from attachment, who don't have egoism, who are equipoised in happiness and sorrow, who are ever forgiving, ever contented, always united with God in devotion. They are who are self-controlled, firm in intellect, firm in conviction, and who are surrendered in mind and intellect to Sri Krishna only. So these are all the qualities of different categories of yogis. Okay. Now the devotees are very, very special. Then devotees of personal form of Sri Krishna, they have very special qualities, and those two are Maitriha and Karunaha. They are very, very friendly. Why? Because they see God in everyone, and they feel one with everyone, you know. So that's what Sri Krishna is saying, that such devotees are very dear to him. So what happens that usually Gyan yogis, they can have pride. They, because they have loads of knowledge and very high intellect. So they are little dry and hard in their behavior. Whereas a devotee, a bhakt, is more loving, more full of emotions. So, somewhere in my research, I did read about that a Gyan yogi is like father, and a devotee is like mother, a mother who is full of love and compassion. Father has to be little strict in the family, and mother usually gives more love. It's more forgiving, right? So that is the little difference, and Krishna likes that. Hmm. Because the way a devotee, because devotee has so much love and so much friendliness and so much compassion, the way a devotee will meet and address others, or even a Gyan yogi, with all the humility. Whereas you cannot expect the same behavior from a Gyan yogi, because um, they cannot give that much respect to a bhakt, because bhakt is a very simple person, very humble person, है ना? Inconspicuous about his presence also. That bhakt is like more in a modest person. That is what, and Sri Krishna likes that. So jnanis are, they will maintain a distance from others, feeling themselves as little superior. Whereas bhaktas, devotees have very good feelings for everybody. And if we notice that Imran Charitmanas Tulsidas ji, who was a great bhakt, remember that, great devotee, he has done Vandana, prayer of everybody, even the dusht people, even the bad, evil people also. He has prayed to them also. Only a devotee, only a bhakt can do that. Huh? Because bhakt feels, a devotee feels that everybody is ansh of God. Ansh of God means everybody is fragment of God, huh? A fragment of the Supreme Soul. So then he feels the same and one with everyone. And Bhakt surrenders totally to God with mind and intellect. That is also a quality of a devotee. He feels that nothing is left as me, mine, mera, so he has that quality of nirmama, nirahankar. And he offers full surrender, feeling that nothing is left, only God is there. And we all know that God is perfect and complete. So, God is not looking for any more gyan because God knows everything. He is perfect and complete. So, what is God looking for? God is looking for prem, for love. That is why he finds that a devotee of the personal form of Sri Krishna, a bhakt, is very dear to God because that bhakt, that devotee has surrendered completely man, buddhi, both mind and intellect. So there is an example given in some scripture which says that if a son of a king begs other people, king will not like it. King does not like it. Similarly, when this Sat Chit Anand Swarup, God's fragment, that Ansh, that human being, if that human being starts expecting from this sansar, from this world, from this Maya roop of this world, then God does not like it. That is where this Ananya Bhakti comes. God loves only that devotee who does not expect anything from anybody else, who is just attached to God, only thinks that this whole universe is created by God and God is the only one. And God is the one who can give me anything. So that devotee who has full, firm faith in God only, who loves God only because God is also looking for that love only, that is what Sri Krishna is talking about, that those devotees are very dear to him. Of course, they have all these other qualities. On top of that, they are Adveshta and they are Maitraha and Karun. Very, very important words, that very, very important qualities that Sri Krishna is talking about here, that those devotees are very dear to me, who are free from malice toward all living beings, who are friendly and compassionate. Hope that helps to explain all this. Over to you, Gagan.
Yeah, thank you, Mummy. Certainly good stress on being friendly and compassionate. And as you had said in the session and in this video as well, the full walking tour, perhaps, of connecting to chapter 2 specific verses, chapter 6, preview of chapter 14, all these different qualities, except perhaps friendly and compassionate, are mentioned or will be mentioned. So stressing again on friendly and compassionate as something new here and very, very important to be a devotee with those traits or qualities. I'll mention a couple more things. We did say this devotion to the personal form, of course, the element of being a devotee. Remember, in class, we said as well, often Arjun asks questions, he gets answers, and then periodically he's been told or he's been asked as well why he is eligible for this wisdom. So, if you all recall, Sri Krishna had said it's because he has no envy, it's because he is a friend of Sri Krishna. And in at least one of the verses, Sri Krishna had said, because Arjun is his devotee. So there again, connecting it to make sure that we all understand that it is this very important set of qualities Arjun possesses. We all try to mimic for a true devotee as well, and therefore get the chance to be able to hear and listen to all this wisdom. One thing we didn't get a chance in class, I'll just do live quickly. There are several English words that we can revisit or add to our dictionaries, some more well known, but we'll quickly do that. Tantamount, we probably understand. Equivalent, it is tantamount or equivalent to harboring envy. And then inimical, somebody uses that. Malice, even toward those who are inimical toward them. So those who are unfriendly or hostile or like enemies toward them. And then here we have seen this, I believe, engender. It's to sort of create that feeling. There's also a theological meaning, though not applied here, but it actually applies in the sense of God and creation as well. So devotion engenders the feeling of unity. And then we saw this one, affability. Again, it's to be friendly. It also means that people can approach you easily. So this leads to the growth of affability if you are friendly and compassionate. And finally, Mummy actually mentioned or hinted at this. She said inconspicuous. It's related to self-effacement. If we are humble, we are not proud, we are not attached to possessions or ego, we're happy sort of lurking in the background, as they say, not seeking that attention, then you can practice self-effacement. You can be inconspicuous. So several that we can revisit or add to
So
our
I will mention
dictionaries.
here something, Gagan, that inimical word is very, very important. You can be friends with those who are friends with you, right? But a devotee can be very friendly to a person who is hostile towards uh, the devotee. Okay, that is what the quality of a devotee is. That is why this is so important, Maitraha. Because usually somebody who is hostile towards us, we will have bad feelings for that person and we will not be friendly with that person. But a devotee reaches that stage where he is friendly even to the hostile people also. Very important word. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely good point. Yes. Lastly, let us go to the flyer. So remember, we saw in class this grid or picture frame of 12 images within that. Question is, which ones are not Sri Krishna's dear devotees? I know due to size, sometimes it might be a little hard to see what this is, and there may be different interpretations also. But this was meant to be a little bit of a fun exercise to help reinforce a summary of the entire content of chapter 12, verses 13 and 14. And as a bit of a joke or exercise, a little bit of a wild goose chase. As we saw in the session, all of these actually are devotees of Sri Krishna. None of them are, not devotees. So very quickly we saw the mind and, those five horses controlled. So self-control, friendliness, compassion, no malice toward all living beings, steadily united, devoted to God. Equipoise here in happiness and distress. And here the ego is vanishing. That's that humility, no attachment to ego. This is ever forgiving. The ninth one here, trying to represent that there is no attachment to possessions. It's fine. Let them, be as they are. And then again, this is constantly thinking about God, again, dedicated in union towards God. 11th one here, climb up that mountain, however hard it is, firm, resolute, conviction of purpose. And finally, the last one is meant to represent santushtaha, being contented. So all these are examples of Sri Krishna's devotees encompassed in these two verses we covered today, chapter 12, verses 13 and 14. With that, we get to the end of this recap video. So we look forward to seeing you next week, which is going to be a new month. So it's Saturday, 7th February 2026, 8 a.m. Central Time, 7:30 p.m. India time. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.